MJ. Here's your updated home exercise program. We're going to grab the foam roller. Just as a review, this is a little bit for pain management. I am going to ask you to place the foam roller underneath the calf area, the meaty part of the calf. I am supporting myself on my hands. My other knee or my foot is placed on the ground. And what you'll do, and actually, just want to make sure that other leg is kind of out of the way. What you'll do is you'll just begin to roll along that calf. And now what I'm doing even too is I'm kind of just sliding my body. So beyond just moving at the knee, I'm beginning to kind of glide my body forward and back. So I do have to support with my arms. I would encourage you to get up a little bit to right below kind of that pocket of the knee joint. So you don't want to go directly on the back of the knee because there's just a lot of sensitive tissue and a lot of circulatory structures. So, but you are trying to get to the very top of that calf area. And I would say, of course, doing both sides, you can start again. What I'm going to start with is maybe the knee. I'm going to kind of roll along by bending and straightening the knee, rolling into the calf. Then I'm going to put a little weight into my hands and my leg, and I'm going to just kind of roll my whole body. So, or move my whole body, so that's rolling along that calf. You want to make sure that as you get to kind of the top of the calf, we're not going directly in the back of the knee joint. So I'd say maybe about 45 seconds to a minute on each leg to loosen up the calves. And that is also where the hamstrings come down and attach in that area. So now a little review of some exercise, MJ. We start as always with a little bit of your breath work. I would encourage you to stay and rest on your back and kind of settle in for a good minute with that umbrella breath. That idea of expanding and opening 360 degrees through the rib cage. And then from there, MJ, we'd move into our bent knee openings. So allowing one knee to open and to close while you're able to maintain the pelvis, the ribs, the shoulders resting. I would go for maybe 8 to 10 moving the right leg, 8 to 10 moving the left leg, and then both legs together. And what we played with today while we worked was even maybe upping the tempo with both legs moving, just to challenge the body to respond to a little increase in pace there. And then from there, MJ, I'd like you to work on some heel slides or some leg slides. About 8 repetitions on each leg. May or can I maintain my spine, my pelvis, while I'm moving that lower extremity? Really reaching to open up the front of the hip to get some range of motion in the knee while I'm able to keep the pelvis, the ribs steady. So again, about 8 repetitions on each side. We move into our single leg lifts, and I'd like you to go ahead and practice this alternating, so it's very much like a walking pattern, MJ. One leg floats up, float it down, feel the weight on that leg on the ground, and then lift. Feel your weight on the foot that's on the ground, and then float the other leg up. So you really have that grounding, stabilizing force. Okay? Again, maybe about, let's go for 10 repetitions on each leg, so that would be 20 marches. And then we finish that by bringing both legs up. I want you to place your hands on top and just get the feeling of really being kind of anchored down through the hip joints and the pelvis on the mat. Make sure that you feel a sense that the abdominals are kind of, again, like that sling settled towards the back side of the body. And then keeping the thighs pretty close together, we take the arms out to a T position. And I'd like you to try to work towards holding this position for about 5 breaths. So after about 5 breaths, then we float one leg down, then the other. Give me just a few minutes, Elby. All right. Then, MJ, we did 2 stretches, and I think you've continued to practice those. We've got one leg extended. You've got one thigh pulled in. You pull the thigh in as close as you can without feeling that your back has to round. So I would hold that stretch for about 45 seconds. And then you can move into a little bit. So actually, Lily, give me just 1 minute. I'll find you some pants in just a moment. So before moving into your hamstring stretch, MJ, you do want to allow your arms to stretch a little bit, so that just lessens the crease at the hip a little, or opens up the angle a bit, and then you move into that hamstring stretch. That active kind of extension at the knee, trying to move the heel bone away from the seat bone to lengthen the hamstrings. You'll do that 10 times on each leg. And then from there, MJ, you'll loop up the leg, draw the elbows by the body without tensing. A little knee bend is totally fine, but you want to keep some good kind of feeling and contact with the band, the same resistance throughout, as you do 10 leg circles, going towards your midline, towards the alternate leg, and circling around. So of course you do that on both legs. We are going to do some sideline leg work, or adding some sideline leg work in. So as you're lying on your right side, MJ, I want you to practice getting your left hand underneath the bottom rib cage. And then I want you to have a sense of lifting your ribs away from your hand. So that just elongates your spine and kind of brings you out of your curvature. Holding that, I'll ask for maybe about 12 repetitions of your clamshell. Pelvis stays nice and steady. When you're laying on your left side, MJ, the idea here is that the left side allows your curvature, allows the space on your body that's kind of compressed to open up. So you can just really allow the ribs, the body to kind of open up and rest on the mat. And again, 12 repetitions of your clamshell. My heels are kind of in line with my hips, my ribs, my head. I'm again trying to keep my pelvis nice and steady. It's not rolling backwards. I think that is a pretty good updated home program for your Pilates exercise, and then still on your off days, still working on the home exercise that we established for the knees in the clinic.